So the first time you open CLion, you're going to see this pop-up box for activating your license. For now, just select Start Trial. Now you need to log into your JetBrains account. So over here, you can either sign in or create a new account. It's really simple. It's only going to take a minute or two. So I'm going to sign in with my account. Good. Now back to CLion, we can start our trial. Now on this page, we're going to click on New Project. Now on the top, we can specify the location of this project. So on my Mac, it's going to be on users/my name/CLion project. I'm going to call this project Hello World, all in one word without any spaces, okay? Now over here, we can specify the C++ language standard. So by default, version 14 is selected, but we can change that to a higher version like 20 or 23. Now, because 23 is not official yet, I would suggest you to go with 20. Good. Now let's create this project. All right, here's our first C++ program written in a file called main.cpp. If you accidentally close it, you can easily find it in the project window. So expand this folder, and here is main.cpp. Now we have another file in this project called cmakelists.txt. We don't need that, so let's close it from here. Now we have the same concept in other IDEs like Visual Studio or Xcode. So we have a project, and that project contains a file that is the main file of our program. Now let's close this window. I'm going to delete all this code because we're going to write it from scratch so you understand how everything works. All right, let's start with a metaphor. Think of your TV. Your TV has several functions. It has functions for changing the channel, controlling the volume, and so on. By the same token, a C++ program consists of tens or hundreds or thousands of functions, each serving a purpose. Now we have a special function here called main, which is the entry point to our program. This is like the power button of a TV, okay? Now note that C++ is a case-sensitive language, so it's sensitive to lowercase and uppercase letters. So make sure to type this exactly as I show you. So if you type a capital M here, this is going to have a different meaning, okay? So we're defining a function. Now before the function name, we should specify the type of value it's going to return. This main function should return a value of type int, which is short for integer. And that represents a whole number like 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. So when we run our program, the operating system like Windows or Mac OS is going to execute this function, and the value that this function returns tells the operating system if our program terminated successfully or not, okay? So here we have int followed by a white space and then the name of the function. Now white spaces in C++ are often ignored, so whether we have 1 or 10 spaces, it doesn't really matter. But in terms of formatting our code, it's better to go with 1 space because we want to format this code professionally, just like how we write an article. We want to format our code just like a published article, okay? Now, after the function name, we type a pair of parentheses, and inside the parentheses, we can specify the parameters of this function. So a function can have 0 or more parameters. For now, let's not worry about them. We'll talk about them later. Then we type a space, again for proper formatting, followed by a pair of braces. Now inside the braces, we can type the code for this function. So whatever we type here will be executed when the operating system executes our main function. Now, once again, in terms of formatting, there are two schools of thought for adding the braces. Some people like to add the left brace on the same line as the function. The other people like to put the left brace on a new line. There's really no right or wrong here. So whatever you prefer, just stick to that and make sure your code is consistent. In this course, I'm going to put the left brace on the same line where we define a function, okay? Now, in this function, we want to write code to print something on the screen. And for that, we're going to use the C++ standard library. So earlier I told you that the standard library provides a bunch of capabilities that we need in almost every application. So on the top, we type hashtag include, and in angle brackets, we specify the name of one of the files in the standard library. That is IOStream, which is short for input, output, stream. In this file, we have capabilities for printing something on the screen or getting input from the user. So just like a supermarket has different sections, the standard library also has different files, each serving a purpose. Now, as we go through the course, you will learn about the other files in the standard library, okay? So back to our main function. Now here we type std, that is short for standard library. And this is like a bucket or a container for the features that are currently available to us. So the features we have imported on the top, okay? So if we type double colons, we can see all these features. Now there are a ton of features here. Don't worry about any of them. In this lesson, we're going to use cout. That is short for character out. Some people think this is short for console out. That is not correct. So using this object, we can output one or more characters on the screen. So we type a space followed by 2 left angle brackets, another space, and then in double quotes, we type the text we want to print on the screen. So hello world, okay? And then we terminate this line using a semicolon, just like how we terminate our sentences with a period. So in C++, this line is called a statement because it tells the operating system what to do. So whenever we type a statement, we should terminate it with a semicolon, okay? Now finally, we return the value of 0. And once again, we need to terminate this with a semicolon. But why 0? Well, 0 tells the operating system that our program is going to terminate correctly. If we return any other values, positive or negative, that means our program encountered an error, okay? So let's quickly recap what we have done so far. On the top, we included one of the files in the standard library for printing something on the screen. Then we defined the main function, which is the entry point to our program. Now, as you can see, the main function returns an integer, which is a whole number like 0, 1, 2, 3, and so on. And in between the braces, we have written the code for this function. So on the first line, we print something on the screen. And on the second line, we return the value of 0. As simple as that. This is your first C++ program. Next, I'm going to show you how to compile and run this program.